Hi everyone, welcome back to MovieJube. I'm Jade and I'm here with Jordan
Hello.
and Nick.
Hello.
And the three of us are going to be giving you our thoughts on the new Predator movie, Prey. And we're super excited to chat with you guys. So if you're excited as well, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And let's get into it.
Who wants to go first?
That's always the awkward standoff. Who wants to go first?
Nick, you go.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. I think definitely in this movie there's some awesome Predator action to be had. If you're a Predator fan, you'll like the third half of this movie. There's a lot of awesome action to be had in it. But I'm not the highest on this movie out of the three of us. But I feel like it's a good movie and it's a Predator movie, but I'm not too sure. Like, it's good. Like, I like it, but there's some things I don't like about it. But we'll get into that later, of course. But as of yet, I just think baseline, there's some cool Predator stuff if you're a Predator fan.
Jade?
I like it as a movie, but I was a touch let down for a Predator movie. But overall, I did still enjoy it, and there's not much wrong with it other than like slight suspensions of belief that I would have any problems with. So there's not that much I would change.
Yeah, I'm probably the highest. I really like the movie, actually, and the more that I think about it, I like it more. I think it's a really sort of pared down, back to basics sort of Predator movie, and I think that's probably what the franchise needed after, was it The Predator? That was the one in 2018 or so.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that one at all. I actually heavily disliked that movie. But this I really enjoyed. I like it quite a bit. I really like what they did, and I like the angle that they took, setting it. I think it's 300 years ago.
Yeah, the 1700s.
Yeah, and I think that was a really cool angle, and I think it made for a really tight, short thriller movie that it has a Predator, and it was really cool. As Nick said, a lot of cool Predator action, beautiful cinematography. I love the sound design. I think it's a pretty it's a standard plot. It's not going to blow anyone away. It doesn't do anything spectacular, but I think it did what it needed to, and was a really taut, great thriller that I really enjoyed. The more I think about it, I've watched both the English version and I watched the Comanche dub.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the Comanche dub a lot more. I think that's probably the best way to watch it, personally, in my opinion. If you can, read the subtitles and have the ability to do so, I would 100% recommend that. I think it made it feel like a really cool sort of authentic to the time sort of movie. But I really like it though. I really do like this movie, and I think it's really cool. But yeah, let's get into it. What do you want to jump into? Let's go through positives first for you guys, because I want to see what you guys liked, disliked, and then we can talk. Because Jay brought up an interesting point of suspensions of disbelief, and I want to see what she was touching on there. Because I guess some of the things like that definitely weigh down little bits for me, but overall I'm quite high on it. So, Nick, what are your positives?
Positives: the Predator outfit, the new the primal mask. I believe this is the feral Predator we're dealing with, right? The feral Yautja. I think that's what the fans have called it. I think it's been called the feral Yautja, the feral Predator. I think he looks awesome with his bone mask. Is really cool. He was ripped as hell. He had a 12-pack. He was hella ripped. I for one really liked the introduction of the bolts that he shoots out of his cannon. Or
I think he shoots them out of his wrist blade.
Shoots them out of his wrist blade. That's right. Yeah, they're out of his wrist blade.
They aim out of the helmet.
Here and they shoot out the wrist blade. That's correct. I was really, really worried they were going to use plasma in this 300 era, this 300 year ago, 1700 era movie, and I was like, oh, don't have it's enough that he's got cloaking, but I didn't want him to use plasma. I was happy it's got an actual primitive weapon. The shield was awesome. We're not gonna get to spoilers yet, but there was an awesome scene where I'm not gonna spoil it, but there's some awesome scenes of the shield, and some of the Predator tech was really cool to see. Some of the more primitive Predator tech as well. And yeah, you know what? When he's cloaked, when he's uncloaked, really cool. You know what I mean? Like that's I would love to see more uncloaked Predator in this movie, but that's not how the Predator operates. So I can't really complain too much. But yeah, I think the design of the Predator was really like awesome looking, and this mask, this bone mask, was so cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Jade? What's some positives?
I really liked like a lot of the visual shots as well. I know it's less about the Predator, but like the sweeping shots of like the planes and
so
all
nice.
that was gorgeous. And I also really liked the relationship between the brother and sister. I think they were really had a cool dynamic together where I feel like the brother was probably my favorite character. I think he was like such a genuine person. And then I personally much preferred the Predator out of the cloaking as opposed to in when he is cloaked. I think he looked great and was like really as tall and buff and scary as you would expect, and I think that looked really cool.
Yeah, I agree with both of what you guys said. I think it's Tabe and Naru, which is the main girl, and the brother. I like their relationship a lot. I think you nailed it. I really like the sort of nuances between them. Like, he's a good brother, but he's also stern, and how that culminates, I think, was really well done. And I think it's very believable, the relationship. And I think that carries a lot of the emotional weight of the film, which is, as I said, quite honestly, quite a basic plot. Yeah. But the relationship between them two does hold some weight and carries through that emotional through line quite well. But I kind of get what you guys are digging at, and I totally understand, even though I'm a lot higher. The first half, or like the first part, I should say, of the movie kind of feels like this sort of Comanche survival movie. Yeah. And then the second half kind of feels like the first half was like kind of like a Revenant vibe, or like a 10,000. I don't know, what's the movie? Is it like Apocalypto? You remember that one?
Or like 10,000 BC or something. Like kind of like those period piece movies, like.
Yeah, and then the second half is when they really let the Predator loose and the cloaking comes off, and it feels like probably the most like violent, gory sci-fi version of Predator we've seen. And that second half is kind of a different film, but they kind of mesh together really well, even if I don't think that the stitching in between them is perfect at times, and I feel like it can kind of feel like a bit like two different movies. I think that they make for both really cool parts. Yeah. And once you in tune with what the movie is going to deliver, I think that that's really cool. Yeah. Like, they feel like two different things put together, and it's like this sort of like Comanche style survivalist movie mixed with this like really gritty like Predator, as you said, Nick, this what they've dubbed it as, this feral Predator that is like aggressive and violent, and it goes for it in the second half with like probably it probably has I can't say that, but it has a high kill count, because there's all the Alien vs Predator movies and things like that, but it has a very high kill count.
But yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely think there's two kind of separate movies in this, but both that I would actually watch. Like, I really did enjoy like the Comanche culture and that side of it. And if it was like a coming of age,
authentic,
if it was like a coming,
look at it,
100%. If it was a coming of age tale of this character trying to prove herself and like hunting a bear, like I'd watch that. That's an awesome tale. I just feel like they filmed this Comanche tale and they're like, what if we added a Predator? Like, what if we added a Predator in this? You know what I mean? It's like for a 90-minute movie, I definitely think it took quite a while to get. And look, the same can be said for the original Predator movie of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers. But that's the introduction and the first time we see it. We're how many movies deep now? Like 5 movies deep in the Predator series, I think. Predator. 1, 2.
I think this is the 5th.
This is the 5th movie. I just feel like for a 90-minute flick, I thought we were going to get like a lot more Predator a lot sooner. It just took a while to get to it, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I just thought, you see that timestamp of 90 minutes and I was like, oh, here we go, it's going to be like 15 minutes and that he's going to lift that bear. I thought we were going to have that bear lift in 15 minutes. I thought they were going to be on a hunt, and then and then that happens.
You get separated or something,
and we're off. It just really wasn't. The start really wasn't what I expected, but it wasn't a bad thing at all. I just thought it was two different movies, which I would gladly both watch those two different movies. You know what I mean? But yeah,
I can understand that. But like, to your point of like, this feels like, you said it's like a Comanche survival movie with a Predator chuck in. I would kind of argue that that's the first movie. It's like an army movie, right? and the predator just happens to just be like chucked in.
But the thing is, it's the first movie, and like you kind of get away with that. I thought we were just like, this is the 5th movie. I thought we were just gonna get like a lot of predator in this. And he's a secretive creature. He hides in the shadows. He cloaks. He hunts. It's what you expect. But I just thought for a 90-minute flick, it took a while to get into like him seeing uncloaked and killing some humans. You know what I mean? Like it took a while to get into that. But that's not really a bad thing.
Yeah, I can understand. I can totally understand that. For me, this feels more like a course correction after like the Predator tried, and Predators gave us multiple Predators, and it was a fun movie. I enjoy Predators with blanking on his name, Adrian Brody. And I enjoy that movie, but it was just kind of like, oh, here's more of the same sort of stuff. A fun action flick, but nothing too groundbreaking or anything. And then we got The Predator, which was supposed to be, you know, kind of like a return to form, and it was not great, but it had like the alpha, I forget what they called it, but like the super predator, the alpha predator.
The big boy.
Big boy predator. And I feel like they had too much predator in that, and I feel like this one was like, let's pare it all back down and bring it back to like the basic roots, which is like human versus predator, like survival versus survival, like, or like a hunt versus the hunted and things like that. And I think that they wanted to pare it down, and I can understand your point, like maybe it was pared down a little too much and maybe not what you were expecting, but I think once you sort of tune to what the movie is doing, I think it works.
Yeah. And it does suck. I would have, because we all watched the English version, and you've watched the Comanche. I would have liked to watch I might watch it after this review. The Comanche version does sound a little bit. I think they would lend a little bit more authenticity to the movie. I think. I do like the idea of there being Comanche version as well. I didn't know that. I just watched the English version. But that's
I like the Comanche version.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be cooler actually.
A little bit more actually.
Yeah.
But what about you, Jay? What are some of the things negatives? Now we'll jump into negatives.
We'll jump into the negatives.
Okay. So I think I've got like just a few things where I feel like the suspension of belief was a bit too much, and that, so I guess we're going into spoiler territory, so spoiler warnings.
Spoilers
alert. But that would be in regards to so I'll just list off a few things. One, when the main girl, I'm so sorry, I don't know her name. Naru, when she is attacking a few of the Frenchmen, but she manages to kill like 7 at once while they're all going after her. And I just find that a bit unrealistic, because I don't even know if the brother could do that. Like, I don't know, like, you know, there's 7 individual people. I feel like it would have been just as impressive for her to maybe fight 1 or maybe 2 guys, and she had like released her dog, and then the dog would help her fight these 2 guys off. That would have been like just as effective, I feel like, as showing her bravery and her strength, but without it being too much of a suspension of belief, as like she was like martial artsing it with like 7 different like men and like cutting them all up and just managing to kill them. And I couldn't fathom that in any reality. But then there was some other aspects, like I found the ending when she does finally defeat the Predator to also be a bit odd. She like tied a rope around his neck, and I thought maybe if anything she could like drag him or lead him into the mud, but instead she somehow like flips him over, and he would be like 6-7 times her weight. And
he just fell into that mud. He's like, ooh.
Yeah, and she like flipped him all the way over, and I don't understand why that was like the choice they went with, but yeah. So yeah, just a few things like that. And I didn't love the effect of like how I feel like they could have cut a few scenes, or like the amount of times that he uses cloaking the Predator, and especially with the doubling up of the scenes of like the circle of life kind of thing that they did with the rat eating the bug, and then the snake eating the rat, and then him taking that out, and then they did the same with the bunny and the wolf. But I just felt like it was a bit much. Like, we get it.
It was trying to establish that he's only interested in hunting what is a threat. But I agree with you. I feel like maybe there was a little bit of cold feet, like, oh, we need to get to the predator. But I think that maybe they should have just kind of stuck to their guns and continued to tell the
Held
story
it
that they
off.
were telling.
Yeah.
And as you said, watching it again with the Comanche version, just to play devil's advocate for you,
please
I do
do.
agree. I don't necessarily think that Naru fighting those men was a necessary scene, and especially may take the weight away from later when she does kill the man, and which I really like the line, by the way, where she says, like, you bled my brother and I'm gonna bleed you. I like that a lot. But I think it was sort of like a contrasting sort of aspect to the film of here's the predator taking out these men, and then here's her, like, she can do it too, you know? And it's like, here's the predator fighting the men, and then here's her fighting the men. It's contrasting these two
Fight
like
styles.
hunters. They're both hunters.
Hunters,
She just
correct.
doesn't necessarily know it yet. And I can understand, but when you watch it again, I don't know how many men she kills, but I do believe it's multiple men getting back up after being stabbed once or twice. Like, I think they get stabbed, they fall back, and then as the camera's fighting, like, a couple of them get back up and try again, sort of thing.
Yeah, but that would still be like about 5.
Yeah, I think she kills like 4 or 5. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I feel like it'd be just as effective, and I would like that to be the story plot of comparing the the threats, but her just fighting 2.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the fact that we've seen this unprepared character this whole movie, you know, struggle to string a bow together when the bear's coming to get her, you know, choking when it comes to the terrifying, like, cougar or the bobcat coming to get her and she's scared. And then I just feel like it's kind of like everything everywhere all at once. Like, she tapped into someone who could do that and took down 7 people like that. I was like, whoa. Where did this technique come from? How are you this awesome at doing all this stuff? Did you just tap into someone who can do this? Like, it's like I feel like you're trying to prove yourself, and you've been struggling at taking down these animals and whatnot, and you're really trying to find your bearings. And this unprepared character just took down 5 people. I was like, huh?
I actually kind of disagree, because I don't
I
think
do too.
it's about that she was unprepared. I don't think the brother could have taken down those 7 different people.
And that's the thing, yeah.
I think no matter how she fought with the bear and the mountain lion, I think it's more about like, humans are a completely different thing, but also I think it would have been just more effective if it was 2, because I just don't think any of their clan members could have taken down like 5 separate guys with like other weapons and guns, because they typically also hunt in groups. Like, even the brother, he goes out on a hunt, typically, like, obviously he did that one time with the mountain lion, but in groups. But I don't think, like, it's necessarily because she was unprepared. I think it's just, I don't know if anyone could do that.
I would actually interject. I would agree with Jay, but I would also disagree with Nick and disagree with Jay's point.
Yeah.
I think it was also, I disagree in the fact that, sure, is it a suspension of disbelief? Yes, watching a Predator movie is an alien from space, but I think it was also the comparison of the Predator fighting them, but her fighting them, but I think it was also a thing of they rely on guns. You see, when they shoot the guns and it doesn't do anything to the Predator, they have nothing. They're not fighting.
Yeah. They literally just
the
stood
Comanche
there.
people are hunters. Like, she struggled with the bobcat and the bear, but the bear and the bobcat are hunters. These French people, these French colonizers, I think they're colonizers, right?
Yeah.
They don't know how to fight. Like, it seems like they are only good with their guns. So when you take their guns away from you, or when you're in close combat, because we've seen she was very good at throwing the axe and pulling it back and doing all these things, but under the stress of a hunter coming at her, that's when she was unable to perform. But these French colonizers are not hunters. Once the guns are taken away, they've got nothing. And that's what you've seen with the Predator when the Predator fought them. Like, once those guns fired off and he had the shield, they were all like, they stared at him and they were like,
they did nothing.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's all they could do.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I think it was a bit of that as well. But I'm not saying I don't disagree with your points and think that maybe that scene could have been tweaked or made more realistic or had more of an emotional impact of her actually realizing her potential. Yeah. But I do think that the themes and, like, the ideas maybe justify it to an extent.
I think the themes and ideas make total sense, but I do feel like it would have been so much more impactful if she, like, screams of victory after taking down 2 of these men who do rely on guns and aren't typical hunters, but I feel like that would have been just as impressive and just as, like, yes, she is a hunter. She is, like, but it should have just been 2.
I get that. I'm coming from the rookie angle, more or less. I feel like she could have done that if she was like a seasoned hunter and a warrior who's actually fought people before and stuff.
She lives her whole life fighting.
Yeah, I was just
even though she's a hunter-gatherer, she kind of also is very experienced with her axe. She uses this kind of stuff. She does know how to move and maneuver. She can kick off trees.
I feel like 2 would have been good. Like I'm in agreement with you. I'm not disagreeing. I think 2 would have been better. I just feel like taking out 5, I was like, she could do it, but I feel like at this stage, and she is like an entry-level hunter. She's trying to find her bearing. She's a freshman in the hunting world. She's like young and unexperienced, and I was just like, oh, all right, we're gonna take out like 5 dudes. It's like I just think a couple of negatives to me as well is just inconsistencies in scenes and stuff as well. I think the bear attack was cool. I did not think it was cool when the predator started wrestling a bear. I would have really liked the bear. I think the trailer cut it better. I think the bear attack,
totally agree,
getting through those sticks and then bang, it's dead, and then it just lifts. That would have
loved that. Where you don't see like how it happened, but you watch the bear die, and then you see it get lifted up. That would be way better.
I think the feral drinking the blood and like pouring the blood all over him was awesome, but in the next scene, he is clean. He just swam through a river full of Tide Pods and laundry detergent, and he is clean. Not a speck of blood on him. I was like he was just covered in blood 2 seconds ago. It's like when he grabs the chain and sees her like being caught in the trap, and they do claim
he was completely invisible.
The boy.
It was from the boy.
That
was from the boy. Yes. Regardless, and there was no water to clean off, so he just came out. He just came from the grass.
Yeah.
And I know the blood was coming off in the grass, but like it still would have been cool to just see some remnants of the blood, just a little bit. You can see a little bit of his outline of his mask and stuff. Like I don't know. It's just there was some inconsistency scenes.
The French people were there, so if he did have the blood, they would have seen it.
Yeah.
So that's why it wasn't. But I do agree with you. I think it could have been cool to have, like, I just think a piece of tech, like he sprays and it like disintegrates everything or something, could have been explained. But with the bear, I do agree with you is that visually, I'm not the biggest fan of him fighting a bear, but I think it was, when I watched it the second time, I really liked the aspect of it tells you a lot about this predator. He's not necessarily the sneakiest or the smartest predator. He is like a feral predator. Like he kind of wants to get vicious and prove himself. I kind of like it in that way. Yeah. And I think it tells you more about this is a different predator. He isn't, and I like that. And I feel like when we get to the end, I would agree with Jade. Like I don't necessarily like how she finished the fight and took him down like a tree trunk, but I feel like it did make it believable because this predator was not like, I don't know if he was a rookie, but it was feral, it was aggressive, and it was getting hurt. It was making mistakes and
clumsy.
Things were like even the brother I really love, and I was talking to Jade about it. He is beating the predator, and then he uses a cloak, and the brother screams out cheetah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that's such a cool concept. Like, this predator isn't like, he doesn't care about honor, which we've seen other predators care about.
Yes.
He is kind of inexperienced and overly aggressive. So I think the bear scene works for me in that regard. Like, I like that it's this, he wants to test himself. He's never fought a bear.
Yeah, and it kind of represents like maybe the different generations of these predators and how this one, maybe it was his first mission. Like I guess like certain predators are dropped off onto planets, and maybe this was like one of his first. But it also just represents, he's way more like, less tactical and less like intelligent, kind of like the way that you experience like, humans over time or animals over time like adapt and get smarter with their surroundings. He's less smart with his surroundings, and he's less like forward thinking. He's more just like action first.
Yeah, he's observant until he realizes they are prey.
Yeah.
And then he pounces.
I see a little boy walking up me.
He's gonna pounce at Nick.
Yeah, he's gonna pounce. Nick just dies on camera.
But yeah, so I actually like the bear scene because I think it's really telling, and it sets up a lot of what you can expect from his predator. And then I also think it makes perfect sense where I think it's maybe my favorite predator scene in any predator movie when they are the bait.
Oh yeah,
and you see the predator come down with the shield, and
let's all agree that was like 10.
Yeah.
That was like a 10.
Yeah, that was the best part of the movie, for sure.
That was the best part of the movie.
The bait.
So
that
good.
was epic.
I just love that it tells the predator has personality without saying anything or even seeing his eyes, because he feels cocky, you know, where he's popping the shield and he sees them reload. He's observing like, oh, they got to reload that thing. Cool.
Yeah, he
Now I
is
can kill
observing them.
You know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I love that, man. That's so cool. And we should do a little quick side note. Let's go around circle best kill.
Oh, for me, it was the tree trunk with the shield. Like,
It was 100%.
damn, damn. I do think that the net we've seen the net.
Oh my god, yeah, whoa.
We've seen the net tightening on human beings and cutting them before, and like cutting the alien and AVP and stuff. But this one like tightened so much that it mince-meated the guy. I was like, damn.
That was intense.
But yeah, for me, it's the tree. Damn, that tree. I was like, woo.
That was cool.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was sick. I have a worse kill though.
Well, can I give one more for best kill?
Yes, please.
When he just launches the bear trap at the guy.
Yeah!
He just like takes it off his arm and he's like, and it's like,
I don't even remember that.
yeah, it was like in the midst of the chaos, but he just launches a bear trap at someone. It was awesome.
Hell yeah, that's very cool. But my least favorite kill, though, I really didn't like this aspect, and I would have much rather see the Predator do more kills, is when he leaves a trap of his like arm bracelet, and then these kind of things come out and whirl, and they don't really explain how they died, but I would have much rather just see the Predator in action, just ripping them to shreds. Like, yeah, I would have preferred that. I didn't love that kill.
Yeah, I can understand that. But yeah, I love that. I think that's one of my favorite Predator scenes.
Yeah,
I also really like the cinematography. I think it's maybe my favorite final act in a Predator, just on the cinematography level and like visual level. But I'm trying to think of the other positives, but yeah, I like Naru's journey. I think her journey is good. I like it a lot in the Comanche version as well, because as I said, I feel like I don't know how authentic it is. Like, I'm not someone that studies up on that stuff, but it felt more authentic to me because of the language, and I really enjoyed it feeling like this sort of period piece with reading the Comanche subtitle, like the subtitles while listening to the Comanche dialogue was really cool.
Yeah,
I just like that. Like, I'd love to see Predators, you know, like, get them fighting knights or samurais next. That'd be cool.
yeah. I need
samurais.
Samurais would be so cool. Yeah.
My only negatives that I can really think of are the biggest. I have some little logistical ones, like Jade was mentioning, like, you know, her fighting 7 guys. It is something that's like, I could have done without that, or at least like pare down the intensity of that scene to make it feel more in line with what. Yeah. And I don't like how I won't say it, but how she kills the Predator. I guess I just said it, but we're putting spoiler review on it. Yeah. Like, I don't like how she kills it.
I feel like that was way too, like, you had to get that spot on for that to work.
Yeah, it was lucky.
That's lucky.
But and I'm not the biggest fan of like the call outs, like if it bleeds we can kill it and do it.
I don't think it needed it.
I could have done without it. But other than that though, I don't have a lot of negatives, and the more I talk about it, the more I really, really like the movie. And I like it on a thematic level. I like the characters, and I really like what they did with the Predator. I like it a lot. I actually really, really like this movie. But yeah, that's it. I can anything else you guys want to touch on before we jump on and give it a final score?
Yeah, sorry, go.
Oh, sorry. I love like seeing the authentic like the group, the tribe, just living their lives and what they were doing, like when they were you know, scraping the hide, and when they were just doing their regular hunter-gathering or like killing for rabbits and food and deer and living their life. I thought they did that in such a like beautifully authentic way, and I liked all the different clothes and what they were wearing, and you can really see that it is like the hide that they just recently scraped off. Like, yeah, it looked really cool, and the brother just was a highlight for me. I think he was my favorite character, and he was just excellent.
He was an MVP for sure, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
The dog was.
Yeah, the dog was. Underrated.
The dog guy was an MVP for sure. But
and he grabs the axe.
He gets it. But yeah, I thought there was some awesome Predator action, especially in that the bait scene was phenomenal. I think that was the highest point of the movie. And I did like a lot of the Comanche stuff. I liked the fact that when in the beginning of the movie she sees the spaceship, and she's like, you know, I've seen, I forget what she said, but she's like,
the Firebird.
Yeah, the Thunderbird or the Firebird. She's like, I've seen like a sign. I'm ready. I'm like, that's cool. I think that's cool. I do really like that comparison with ancient people seeing future tech and being like it's a god sign. You know, that's cool. Like I liked a lot of the Comanche stuff, and like I said, a movie I would watch in itself of just, you know, a hunter-gatherer hunting a bear. It'd be cool. But yeah.
And also the pistol was cool from Predator 2.
Yes, that's what I thought, right? That is from Predator 2, right? That's what he gets.
Yeah,
The
I believe
gift.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
But yeah, who wants to go first and give their quick thoughts and score?
I'll go first. I think I'll give it a solid 7. And I think certain parts of it deserve higher, and no parts of it deserve necessarily lower, but I just can't give it the higher marks just for certain things that I felt like didn't make sense to me. But it was a well done movie, and I wouldn't recommend anyone not watch it. So, yeah.
That's a good watch. I would give it a 7.2. I think a 7.2. I think, anyone can really enjoy this movie. You don't have to be a Predator buff to really get into this movie at all. And I think beautifully shot, score, scenery, everything looked great. It's not a bad movie in any stretch of the imagination at all. I think it's when it goes, what's everyone's favorite? Are we going to talk about where it lays in our Predator ranking?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we'll do that after. Yeah.
Yeah, but okay, we'll do that after. But yeah, I'd say
So
something.
you could chuck it in now.
I think it goes my top 3 are original Predator, Predators, and Prey. I think Predators and Prey will kind of battle it out. I think I need to watch Predators again, but yeah.
I really like this movie. I think it's extremely consistent. I think once you know what you're getting into, it's beautifully shot. I love the sound design. I think it has a simple but effective story. I think the Predator stuff is great. I do have some small little gripes, I don't think the CG is incredible all the time. I do think that some of the little logical inconsistencies frustrate me, and I'm like, but overall, I really think Prey is great. The more I talk about it, the more I really, really like the movie. I really like the Comanche version. I liked it much better on a second watch, and I would give it an 8.2.
Yeah.
I really like it, and Prey is number 1 for me.
Hey,
I think Prey is better than the original movie.
Okay.
I think just as a movie, I think it's a better movie than the original.
Yeah.
Obviously, the original is classic, and it's I give the original an 8 out of 10. It's a classic monster movie, and it's always fun to watch. And I still think it has maybe higher highs, but I think Prey is more consistent of a movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, give it an 8.2. I really, really like Prey. I really recommend people watching it. And watch the Comanche version. I like that one a lot.
Yes.
It's under extras. If you have, if you're not in, I don't know where it is because we're in Australia. We have to watch it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
You can't just change it on the subtitles little thing. You have to go to extras, and it's like a whole separate movie.
Yeah.
The Comanche version.
And also, if you can't find the movie, be sure to change your rating to MA15 or R18. I could not find it. I was on M. I could not find it anywhere. I was like, are they going to even promote this movie? No. Got to change your stuff to MA15 so you can watch it.
Yeah.
Alrighty, everyone.
Really good.
Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and please let us know your thoughts on Prey, and if you have a ranking, what you would rank it, what you thought, and yeah, we'll keep that discussion going down below. So yeah, make sure to leave a like, and we will see you in the next one. Say bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.